everybody. Welcome to Karen's Sizzle and Spice. Today I'm going to make one of my favorite comfort foods, macaroni and cheese. It's funny, you know, I used to be afraid to make macaroni and cheese. I thought I'd always have to use the little blue box, but I realized it's really not hard at all. So I'm going to show you a simple way to make it. I don't think you'll ever go back. It's so good. So what you're going to need today is a 1 pound box of any kind of macaroni you like. We're going to use 4 cups of milk, 4 tablespoons of flour, 4 tablespoons of butter. Then we're going to use about half an onion chopped up, a couple of garlic cloves cut up, and then you can choose your cheese. You'll find through trial and error that different cheeses melt better. And let's talk about cheese for just a minute. When you're making homemade macaroni and cheese, I know it'd be easy, but don't buy the already grated cheese. It doesn't melt as well as if you grate your own. So I always grate my own cheese. Today I'm going to use a half a pound of Colby Jack, a half a pound of extra sharp cheddar, and I'm going to try a little bit of cream cheese this time to see how that comes out. We'll use salt and pepper, and that's all the ingredients. So let's get started. Okay, we're back now. I've got all my ingredients cut up. I just finished grating the cheese. And again, the reason why you don't want to use pre-grated cheese is because they put some kind of powdery substance on it and it doesn't allow it to melt as much as you'd like it to. So I'm going to move this tray over by my stove and we're going to get this macaroni and cheese going here. So first I'm going to add the 4 tablespoons of butter, and we're gonna let that melt. In the meantime, I've got a pot of water boiling for my pasta. And I like to use sea salt, the coarse large sea salt when I'm cooking. Now this is the only time you get to season your pasta, so I'm very generous with the salt. And I'm gonna throw in the pasta here, the whole box. We'll give it a little stir. This is actually a bigger pasta macaroni than I normally use. So I've got to look at the box here to see how many minutes they want me to cook this. This will take 8 minutes, so I'll set my timer for 8, and then we can get back to the butter that's melting here and sizzling. I need to get my tool here. So first we're going to add the onion that I've chopped finely. Oh, you could smell that. I love that smell. And then I'm going to add my minced garlic. I don't know about you guys, but cutting it up garlic isn't good enough for me. I love the flavor, but I do not like to get big chunks in my mouth. I like it minced whenever I put it in any recipe. So this is going to cook down for just about 3 to 4 minutes, and then I'll be back. Okay, I'm just added the 4 tablespoons of flour to the butter and onion mixture, and we're going to create a roux here. When you create a roux, you want to let it cook out for just a few minutes. It will turn a little brown, and then we'll go to the next step. So I'll be right back. So while my roux is browning up here, my pasta is ready to go. So I'm giving it one last quick stir, and I have another tip for you guys. What I do when I make any kind of pasta for any dish, I like to save some of the cooked pasta water because I might need to moisten or water down my macaroni and cheese, or if I'm making an Italian dish, I might want to throw it in with my spaghetti sauce. So I'm going to drain this now and then I'll be back. Okay, this roux is turning a nice brown color. And it's ready to go now with the milk. I'm stirring it with a wire whisk. And I've got 4 cups of milk to add. I'm going to add just a little bit to start. And then I'm going to stir it nice and smooth. Just keep whisking it. You guys are going to love this macaroni and cheese. I swear you will never go back once you've made this. It's so worth the effort, and you can make a big old bowl just like I'm gonna do. And it'll last you for several days in the fridge. The leftovers are incredibly good. I'm gonna add a little bit more milk. I'm gonna stir it some more. I'm gonna turn up the heat a little. So we're gonna end up adding all 4 cups of milk, and we're just gonna keep stirring it until it comes to a simmer, and then we'll add the cheese, and I'll be back then. You can see that the roux mixture is bubbling around the edges. That's when it tells you it's ready for the cheese. I'm gonna give it a good stir. And then I'm gonna start adding the cheese. Just a good chunkful at a time. And then I'm gonna let that melt. I'm gonna give it some whisking time. You wanna make sure each portion of cheese that you put in is blended well. I'm gonna add a little bit more cheese to the mixture. And now I'm going to prepare my casserole dish that I'm gonna pour it into. You can eat this macaroni and cheese as is after we mix it, but I like to bake it. So the way I prepare my casserole dish is I've melted about 2 tablespoons of butter. And then I'm just going to move it around the dish till all the sides and the bottom are covered really well. You can never really have too much butter with macaroni and cheese. I'm gonna go back to melting cheese here in the roux. You can see the color is starting to turn orange, which is a very good sign. The cheese is melting beautifully. And you know what? I've never used this cream cheese before in my macaroni and cheese, but I decided to give it a shot today. I'm gonna see what kind of flavor it adds to my macaroni and cheese. So I have a little bit more cheese to add. You can see it's getting thicker and it's getting oranger. Ugh, this cheese mixture. Okay, while some of that cheese is melting, we're gonna need a little salt and pepper in here. Now, cheese is naturally kind of salty, so you're not gonna need too much. So make sure you taste to tweak your macaroni and cheese. I'm just gonna give it a couple of sprinkles here. I'm going to add some pepper, and as much as you like. I love pepper. My husband not so much, so I kind of use a medium amount so I don't overdo it with the pepper. I'm gonna keep mixing this. I'm gonna add the rest of the cheese, and then we will be combining it with the macaroni. So I'll be back in a minute. Okay. The cheese is melted perfectly. My cheese sauce is ready to go. I'm gonna turn it off, and we're going to uncover the pasta, which is cooked and ready to go. And I'm just gonna pour this whole pot of cheese sauce right into the macaroni. OMG. Tell you, my husband loves this. He could live on this macaroni and cheese if I let him. Okay, we're gonna mix it up really good. Oh, yeah. And it's funny, you know, if you let this macaroni and cheese just sit for a while in this pot, it will soak up all that cheesy goodness. Now you could eat it just like this. In fact, you know what? I'm gonna try it. I wanna make sure I don't need a little more salt. And all you can do when you're cooking is just taste it to tweak it. Make it your own. Oh, God, it smells good. I wish you could smell it. Oh my gosh. It's one of the best pots I think I've ever made. You know what though? I can tell from the mixture that I could use a little bit of that pasta water. Oh, I have it here. So I'm gonna add a little bit more before I bake my macaroni and cheese. So like I said, you could eat it just this way. It's incredible. But I really like to bake it in the oven, and I'm gonna show you how I top it. Oh, and we saw the dish that I've got prepared here. We're ready to pour it in, and pour it away from yourself. Otherwise, you get it all over your shirt. Look at this goodness. Watch this. Ugh. Oh my goodness. My kids, they don't even live with me, but I bet they can smell it. They'll be over any minute to get some of this macaroni goodness. So you can see how it looks when it's prepared. I love it. What I'm gonna do is, I love to put my favorite croutons on top. My favorite are these cheese and garlic croutons. And you know what this really gets my frustrations out? When you get the bag, I just like to beat. First of all, you gotta open it just a little bit or the thing will explode. But I like to bang the heck out of it and smash those croutons good. I used to picture that being my ex-husband's head. Okay, so I'm gonna just sprinkle these right over the top of the casserole, and then I will bake this at about 350 for about 40 minutes or so. It's gonna be so crunchy and brown on the top. It's gonna be great. Now, if you like this video, and if you like what you've seen today, please follow me on my page here and subscribe. You've got to subscribe and like the video. I'll see you next time. And remember, you eat with your eyes first, so you may as well make it beautiful, right? Bye-bye. See you next time.